So I made a video last week where I mentioned that I really don't have a problem paying a little bit more for a better experience. Now, whether that's with a nicer hotel room with a better view or a nicer Airbnb or whatever. And of course, I don't do this all the time because nicer usually equates to more expensive. But I'm one who understands that you generally get what you pay for. Like if you only paid $4.99 for that locking tape measure that quit locking after 3 weeks, you really don't get to complain about it because you probably should have spent at least 4 times that to get the one that's made a lot better, especially if you value that tool. And this brings up another point about paying for the things that you value, right? So if you don't value technology or computers, for example, you're probably not someone who's going to spend a whole lot of money on your computer. You'll go for a basic, get the job done computer and be fine with it. But if you rely on a computer every day for work like I do, you'll spend more for it because you need it to do specific things in a manner that helps you get things done more efficiently. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I realize that this is all subjective, and I realize that some of the things that I'll be mentioning today might be somewhat controversial. But again, keep in mind the value statement that I just mentioned. And with that said, I absolutely welcome your comments and any additions to this list. So feel free to let me know what you're okay with spending more for down below in the comments because I would love to hear from you, and we'll get an alternate list going down below. Okay, the first high-end item worth paying more for is, like I mentioned earlier, nice hotel rooms. I've stayed in many hotel rooms over the years, and while, yes, I do understand they need to save money, a nice hotel room can really make an otherwise mundane trip a whole lot more tolerable. You can get extra perks like access to a special check-in area that's away from the crowds of the main desk with soft chairs and coffee and water bottles and snacks, and with additional concierge service. Your room key might also get you access to a private VIP room with complimentary drinks and appetizers during certain times of the day. Now, I'm not saying you need to go book a villa every time you take a trip, but every once in a while, on those certain trips, it's totally worth paying for and treating yourself to the upgraded room. Same goes for cruise ships. It's totally worth it, in my opinion, to pay for the nicer room with the balcony. Those super cheap prices that cruise companies hook you with are for inside cabins with no windows. And those rooms are so tiny, you have to fold the beds up to even move around in there. And don't even get me started on the showers. They are so small, it's best to just soap the walls and spin. That's not something I want to deal with on a vacation. Now, if you need to save up a little bit more to do it, you'll be glad you did. Okay, this next one, if you travel, you can appreciate, and it's luggage. And I'm not talking about the blinged out luxury brand overpriced stuff. I'm talking about the you get what you pay for stuff. And I've gone through a lot of luggage in my time, and most of it was pretty cheap stuff because I really didn't care. But it always fell apart pretty quickly. But when I started this YouTube channel and got exposed to different brands at different price points that I'd never heard about, I finally understood. It gets back to what you value and what you're willing to put up with. Now, since I just mentioned luggage, I want to talk for just a minute about today's sponsor, Esri, because they make the coolest and best looking backpack I have ever seen. And on just a side note, so we can have some full disclosure here, guys, I've said no to several backpack companies that wanted me to do promotions for them because I'm really just not a backpack guy. I'm kind of more of a messenger bag guy until now. This backpack literally changed the way I think about backpacks. Esri backpacks are made of incredible high-end materials, making the backpack ultra lightweight, but also allowing it to maintain its shape even when it's empty, so it can sit here and stand up all on its own. A bunch of other backpacks get flattened and wrinkled when they're empty or after consistent use. They can't stand upright oftentimes, and even if they can stand up, they're super heavy because of all the increased stiffness inside, which makes it pretty uncomfortable to carry. This thing is incredibly lightweight, and the thick padding makes it pretty comfortable to carry around all day. It makes traveling super convenient with over 18 one-of-a-kind functionalities and pockets, including internal wiring for easy charging, side access laptop compartments, strap pockets, keychain hanger, and so much more. And with 2 convenient leather handles, the Esri Elite can be carried in a briefcase style or as a backpack for even more functionality. They're also incredibly water resistant against rain and spills. They also thought a lot about traveling, and they added the padded trolley slip to put on top of your rolling carry-on. It also has a protected passport pocket, hidden side pockets for smaller items, and a ton more. And what I think I like the most is that it was designed to hide all the pockets to create a way more professional look. All the pockets are super discreet, giving this backpack a much more professional look, which makes it, in my opinion, a lot more appropriate for a professional work environment. So one more thing, there's going to be a special link and a discount code down in the description that gets you 40% off. And I was told that they would normally never run such an aggressive discount, but they're trying to make these backpacks a lot more accessible. And because it's the holidays, they want to reach new customers and, of course, grow their brand. So listen, if you're interested at all in checking out all the different models of this backpack they make, hit the link and also get free shipping in the US, as well as special interest-free financing with no additional fees whatsoever. The link and the code are all listed down below. Okay, the next high-end item that's worth paying for is first-class airline tickets, especially on long flights. So listen, a first-class round trip is too expensive. Fly coach on the way there, and then book your first-class seats on the way back. I've done this several times because I knew I would be exhausted at the end of my trip, and the last thing I wanted was to be crammed in a coach seat on the back of the airplane somewhere. Because think about it, right? There's typically a lot of excitement when you're going on your trip, so coach doesn't seem all that bad. But when you're wiped out after your trip, I'm usually a little bit edgy, and then flying up front in first class makes things a whole lot nicer and, of course, a lot more comfortable. Okay, I might get some heat for this next one, but it's vehicles. Now, I will preface this by saying that up to a certain point, spending more on your vehicle is worth it. After a certain point, it's just kind of showing off. So let me talk more specifically about how I see it. So when I was looking at my current Audi, I could have got a base Q5 or a Q3 with pretty much everything you could throw at it. And I was, and I still am, totally okay with spending more for the smaller Q3. And let me tell you why. And this might seem a little bit extra to some of you guys, but this is me, and it's how I feel. So it's not wrong. But I don't want to buy the base car and then have the nicer version of that same car pull up next to me at a stoplight or have it parked next to me at the grocery store. Been there, done that, and it always kind of made me feel a little bit envious, and it made me feel like I should have and could have spent a few more dollars to have the nicer version of the car. Now I realize, we can only afford what we can afford, and I'm not suggesting that you go out and overextend yourself. But for me, when I'm working with a budget on a vehicle, I'll, of course, always try to get the most out of it. Next up is housing. Now, I'm all about living below your means and stashing money away in savings, trust me. But I had to confront this one very recently, and as a lot of you guys know, I recently moved into this house that I'm renting. Now, during the process of looking for a place, of course, I could have spent a little bit less on a smaller place or an apartment. Now, this gets back to what I value. I work from home. I spend a lot of time at home. I didn't want stairs, so that kind of ruled out apartments. I also wanted a garage. I needed space to film. And I wanted to get everything out of my storage unit and stop paying that bill every month, so I needed room to put things. Now, sure, I could have got a small apartment and then kept the storage unit, but I valued having everything under one roof. So you kind of have to ask yourself, right? What's it all worth? What's not having stairs worth? What's having a garage worth? What's having space and privacy worth? Add it all up, and if you can afford it, of course, there's nothing wrong with paying more for it if you need it and it makes you happy. Okay, this brings us to wine. Now again, there's a point that I'm not willing to cross because I'm not loaded, but having lived in wine country for the last couple of years and knowing a little bit about wine, price, generally speaking, equates to better. Not always, of course, but it's one indicator. So if I'm putting together a meal pairing or a charcuterie board for a special occasion, or if I want to bring special guests to a winery for a nicer selection of wines and a better overall experience, I will spend more for higher quality wines with some age behind it. Okay, last but not least is food pairings. So look, if you've never done a seated food and wine pairing, you definitely should. I've had the pleasure of being a part of a few at this point, and I can tell you, this is an experience you will always remember. So recently, my friend Bill turned 60, and his daughter booked an in-home 6-course dinner experience that was next level. I ate stuff I didn't even like because the pairings were so amazing and the food was prepared to perfection. Now, I realize that one might be a little specific, but it gets us back to experiences and paying more for something that you value, which in this case was good friends, good food, good wine, and an overall fantastic experience that I'll probably never forget. And listen, if you made it this far, please do me a favor and hit that like button because it really does help how YouTube sees my videos. And as always, my friends, thank you very much for watching. Live well, and I'll see you in the next one.
Kick back, relax, enjoy yourself, enjoy the moment, slow down. Only use the phones to take pictures of the food and the experience. Otherwise, enjoy your moment. Bill, I love you, bro.
Happy birthday, Bill.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
In the bowl in front of you on the plate, you have roasted root vegetable medley, toasted pine nuts, Middle Eastern, because I'm a little of the Mediterranean side, the za'atar. It's gonna bring a lot of the flavor of that butternut squash. We just let it flow till it's all poured on there. It's a little chilly out here. Let's warm up a little hot soup.
Oh my God, amazing. Look at this.
Little smell of the wine, little taste of the wine, a little bite of the soup, and finish it off with the wine, please. A little bit of spiciness to it, that's why I paired it with the Sauvignon Blanc. So this is handmade agnolotti pasta, corn filling itself. There's a corn puree in the bottom, a little bit of cotija cheese. I like tahini on my Mexican street corn. It's just,
Yes.
it pleases the soul. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, let's
Also
go.
on top of that, you have the, so the filet in front of you is ancho coffee crusted. You have an ancho coffee demi-glace to go with that. You also have some confit fingerling potatoes, pancetta. Bill, hopefully you had some childhood memories of going camping and doing s'mores at the campfire. This is where I'm trying to take you. So you have the port in front of you right now. Nice, real deep, rich port wine. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, happy birthday! Let's go! Amazing. Oh my God, I can smell that.
Oh, yeah. Wow, it's campfire.
Moly.
The remnants of all the beautiful glassware we've gone through tonight. Amazing. Such a treat.